Welcome to the City of Caldwell podcast. We have Mike Dittenber today from the Caldwell Housing Authority. Mike, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself and just tell us who you are, maybe where you grew up, and just how you got to this point?
Sure. So my name is Mike Dittenber, and I'm the director of the Caldwell Housing Authority. I've been the director here for 16 and a half years. So I'm on my 17th year of being the executive director. Previous to that, I worked for Idaho Housing and Finance Association as their special needs officer, traveling throughout the state, assessing the need for additional services at homeless shelters and different special needs facilities. And then prior to that, I spent 7 years as a planner for the Boise Police Department. So I have a long career being involved in government and in the community, and that's a bit about my professional background. Personally, I've been part of the Treasure Valley community for my life. So Canyon County's been my home.
Okay. How many kids do you have? Do you have a wife?
I've been married to my wife for 27 years, and we have 3 children. 2 of them are hers from a previous marriage that I have the privilege of helping raise. And then her and I have a daughter, Sadie. And Sadie graduated from the College of Idaho and is now a journalist for Idaho Education News. Our oldest daughter, Hannah, lives in Lewiston, and she works for a manufacturing company. And then our son lives right here in Middleton, down the road about 2 miles from where we're sitting, and he is in commercial construction.
Okay, cool. Well, thanks for that. So tell us, what is the Caldwell Authority? Who does it serve? Can you give us a little bit of a history also on it?
Sure. A lot of people don't understand that an authority gets its authority under Idaho law. So we're not a nonprofit organization, and we're not just a group of people that thought we were going to do good in the community. We have our authority under Idaho Code Title 50, Section 19. And that authority grants us the privileges of acting as government in terms of how we provide housing to our community. A city that has a special housing need, or where there exists certain conditions of slum and blight, can create a housing authority to address those conditions. So that's where we get our broad authority, and we try to exercise that authority to be good friends with the city and to be good partners in our community.
Okay. So go ahead and give us the rundown of where we are physically right here at Farmway Village, and tell us a little bit about, I think you were talking about established in the 40s. It's been here for a long time. I think Roosevelt had something to do with that. Sure.
So to me and to people, this place has historical relevance. So President Roosevelt, during the New Deal program, created labor camps. And these labor camps were built specifically for the purpose of giving people who were displaced during the Great Depression the opportunity to move back and forth between the Midwest to the West Coast and find work on a daily basis. And so the Caldwell Labor Camp was one of 96 that were built across the nation, and it's only one of 12 that has a footprint still here today. And so even though the federal government ran this program as a labor camp up until the 1950s, it was about that time that they started divesting their interest in the labor camps and looking for local organizations to run them. Now, if you back up about 4 years to 1946, the city of Caldwell exercised their authority under the law to create the Caldwell Housing Authority. And the Caldwell Housing Authority had several properties inside the city limits of Caldwell at the time, but sold those properties to gain operating capital to assume the operation of the Caldwell Labor Camp. So there was a marriage of the Caldwell Labor Camp with the Caldwell Housing Authority in 1950, and we've been here ever since then, for valuable service to the community, providing housing to those that may not afford it otherwise, and to our agricultural workers.
Okay, well, thank you for that update. And you also said something interesting, some of the historical relevance here at Farmway necessarily, where the Caldwell Housing Authority resides. I think it had to do with something with the internment camps, right? You said Minidoka had something go on and they brought some of the internment camp here.
Sure. So during the history of America, we some things that maybe we look back now and regret having done. But during World War II, President Roosevelt signed Executive Order 9066, which interned the Japanese Americans at Minidoka. A couple things happened when we entered war and when we interned the Japanese American citizens, and that was it necessarily created a labor shortage. And so the state of Idaho, and specifically a gentleman named J.R. Simplot, was looking for war contracts. And the United States government said, we want Idaho to increase its output of sugar beets and increase its output of potatoes to support the war effort. But unfortunately, there were no laborers. So many of the Japanese Americans who were interned at Minidoka were released to come to the Caldwell labor camp to work in the local agricultural communities. There were several prominent families who are in this area who I get to speak with from time to time, who vividly remember being raised here at the labor camp before they started their own businesses and their own careers here locally.
I think that's really interesting because I don't think people realize how significant this plot of land or this property really is. So let's go back to the Caldwell Housing Authority itself. What are some of the projects that the CHA has been a part of? What are some that are coming up? What are things that you're currently doing out there? I know, for example, there was a repair to one of the bridges at the plaza. And I don't think people realize that that was actually CHA. That wasn't the city. That wasn't Destination Caldwell. That wasn't the Parks and Rec, department. It was you. So go ahead and tell us some of the projects and how you go about finding which projects to actually do.
Sure. So to answer that question, I need to start with some of the authority that we're granted under the Idaho. And we're located in Idaho Code close to urban renewal law. So urban renewal law is in Idaho Code Title 50, Section 20, and we're one code better at Idaho Code Title 50, Section 19. But we have this broader obligation to make sure that we're doing community development, that we're engaged in worthwhile community projects. And in many times, if you can't provide housing to somebody at an affordable rate, what you do is you provide a great community amenity. And so that's how the Caldwell Housing Authority partners with the city, is that we try to provide them or give them our skills and our labors to help beautify the city. So some of the first projects that we did with the city were we demolished an old house that was run down and blighted by the old River Bridge. And it was on Plymouth Street, and it was an eyesore. And we demolished it and we backfilled it, and so now it's an area over there that the city, I think the city has plans for future walk paths, bike paths. The second project that we did, and it was substantial, and that was we did most of the work at the Veterans Center. So the city turned that over to a newly created Veterans Center committee. And I can't remember what year it was, 2010 or 2011. And but at that time it was being run by volunteers. And so the city was at great risk by sending people in to do the demolition and do the rehab. So the Housing Authority went in and we completely demolished the building from the inside. We removed the chimney. We removed all the asbestos from the inside of the building because we have our asbestos removal certifications. And we put a new concrete basement in it, and we hung all the sheetrock in it, and we put all that beautiful apron around the whole building out there. So we played a large role in making sure that the Veterans Center was off the ground and provides a great place for our veterans in the community. But like you said, we resurfaced the 6th Street Bridge into the plaza. We resurfaced the 7th Street Bridge into the plaza, and we also did the demolition and the asbestos removal of the skate shop at the plaza.
Okay.
So we do a lot of projects like that where we try to We try to improve the city of Caldwell, and we help get them out there that we're more than just an organization that provides housing. We're also an organization that helps develop our community and make it better.
Right. So go ahead and tell us about. Oh, there's another project you guys are doing. Tell us about the house over at C of I.
Yeah, so we have two properties over at C of I. The first property that works is the historic Rice House, and the house is going to be moved for the second time in its lifespan to the Housing Authority's location at Kimball in Chicago in downtown Caldwell. So it's a house in a National Registry of Historic Places. It has been abandoned probably for the last 25 years. And what we'd like to do is we'd like to move that downtown, put it close to some other buildings that are on the historical registry, and we plan on making that into housing for public safety personnel and school teachers. So if you want to be a law enforcement officer or a firefighter or a teacher in the Caldwell area and you can't afford housing, we want to be able to provide that housing.
Okay, neat.
The second house that we have down there is a residential house that was in a terrible condition of disrepair. It was transferred to the Housing Authority out of tax deed from Canyon County. That house has been remodeled, and we are in the process of going live. That people who have chose to make Caldwell their community and who are time home buyers can put their name in the hat for consideration for a $170,000 mortgage. That's roughly 55% of the market rate for a house that size.
Nice. That's a great opportunity for somebody out there. So that's great that you guys are doing that. Can you tell us a little bit about, I think there's some annexation aspirations for this property here that we're at. So when this airs, it may or may not have happened already, but tell us what the significance is. What are some of the challenges? You don't have to go into too many details of like names, I guess,
Sure.
But as far as, what does that mean for the city? What does that mean for this Farmway Village area, for the CHA in general? What's the significance of that?
Yeah, so as you know, when a jurisdiction creates a housing authority, like the Caldwell Housing Authority, our jurisdiction is literally the city limits of the city of Caldwell. But when the leaders of the city and the Housing Authority in 1950 decided to put its resources at Farmway Village, that was a good move, but it necessarily moved the Housing Authority outside the boundaries of its jurisdiction. So we're excited to be back in the boundaries of the city of Caldwell for a couple different reasons. We believe that city services are superior to the services that are offered in a rural setting. We connected to the city wastewater system about 2014, and we're looking to connect to the city's municipal drinking water system either this year or next year. And that's significant because it provides better quality of water for the tenants who are out here. It also makes a part of a city that historically had said, those are the low-income people and we want them out there. And so what that does is that now makes us a part of the city. It makes us feel like we belong to the organization and belong to the city that we love and we care about so much.
Right. Really quickly, we have this beautiful tapestry here. Can you just tell us a little bit about that? Because I was thinking about people are looking at it and they might wonder, and we might not talk about it at all. So
Sure,
just kind of tell
sure.
us a little bit about this.
So as we talked about previously, the property here has been here since 1940, and so that's an 83 have lived out here, and people don't just live out here for 2 weeks or 3 weeks; they live out here for years. And so we had a reunion back in 2012, and we notified people who lived all across the country, and they came in from different countries, they came in from different states to a reunion. And we had the University of Idaho, their 4-H, put together these quilts. And so as you look through here, you can see different families who have lived out here, like the Trujillo family, lived out here from 1956 to 1980. And If my math serves me correct, that's a 24-year period. So people don't just live out here for a month or 2 months. They can live out here for 24 years. This family lived out here from 53 to 1972. So they lived out here for 19 years. And so Farmway Village isn't just a place where people stop off and live here for a couple months. Farmway Village is a place where people can call home. They can raise children out here. And as you and I talked about earlier, there are families who live out here who have aspirations to send their kids off to college. And now we know that somebody who lived out here might be going to Princeton or to Columbia or to a different college. So these are great people who live out here, and they support the Caldwell community. And we honor them, and we appreciate what they do, because this is a big community out here, and it's a community of people and a community of families.
You guys have some community events that happened throughout the calendar year. I know you guys had a carnival, not too long ago. I think CHA and Farmway partnered with the Caldwell School District. You guys did I think you do an egg drop contest or something like that. So can you tell us more about the different events that you all put on, and maybe the motivation behind
Sure. Well, let's talk about the motivation first. The motivation is that when you provide help, and even at at a below market rate, there's always this perception that maybe people are being warehoused. And what we try to do is we try to create a community out here where people feel this is a community, and this is more like the communities of the 40s and 50s across America, where we have parks and we have open space and people come outside. We have stores, and so what we try to do is we try to put on several events throughout the year. Teresa Sanchez, who's coordinated the egg drop. We have had an egg drop for a long time that allows the Caldwell School District STEM department to get together with some kids and use straw and duct tape and kind of create a competition to see who can create a vessel to safely bring an egg to the ground. And those are great. We get the Jarrett Farmway out, we get the kids in the community out, and we also get the opportunity to have the school teachers visit the place where their students live, and it's a great opportunity. We also have the carnival. We bring the carnival in every year, and I remember where I grew up, and I have fond memories of where I grew up, and that's what we want to do, is provide fond memories. And wouldn't it be great if you were young, if you had the carnival come right to your backyard? Well, that's what we do every year. We bring the carnival right to the backyard of the people that make this place successful.
Nice. Mike, was there anything else that you wanted to promote or talk about that CHA is doing, or stuff that's coming up?
Yeah, we try to keep our eyes open and our ears to the ground with opportunities to serve the community. Probably one of the largest thing that we're involved in now is implementing our master plan. We just had Cushing Terrell complete a rather lengthy process of developing our master plan. And as the master plan starts playing out too, and as the city starts moving this way and annexing, we have planning out here putting in more units. One of the exciting thing about our is putting in an art. So the housing authority will, for the first time, and probably one of the first housing authorities to ever do so in Idaho, is we're going to have 200 units of RV parking. People of low or moderate income who are forced to live in an RV for no other reason than the lack of affordable housing can have a decent place to stay, where they're connected to a water system, a sewer system, and they have a park. And that way we do a couple different things. We develop our communities, we improve our communities by letting those people who are forced to live in RVs in people's driveways or backyards or in ditch banks to move to a healthy and sanitary RV park. Yeah. So we're pretty excited about that, and you know what, day out here is a great day, and we really enjoy. We're proud of what we've done.
Nice. Well, Mike, we appreciate your time. Thank you for sharing it with us about yourself and what CHA does and what's coming down the pike here. So thank you so much for
thank you very much for having us.